Hello and welcome back to yet another installment of our mini podcast series. Ben Norman here, joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Grant Kraft. We're following up here to an earlier video posted this week about recruitment and retention, very important topics here as we go forward into the school board election. And we're going to hear from our three other candidates that we've endorsed today to hear their thoughts on this important topic.
That's right, Ben. And so you might remember that in the last video, we talked about Melissa Birkland and Lynn Telford and sort of their views about this idea of retention and recruitment. And this will probably be the last video where we hear directly from the candidates. And so if you missed any of that content along the way, I think there's about 15 minutes of it. You can head over to our YouTube channel and be able to sort of sift through all of that to get a better idea of why the Fargo Education Association made the decision to endorse these five candidates. As we think towards this final installment, focusing in on retention and recruitment, we know that one of the major factors that drives retention and recruitment are salaries and benefits. And we also know that we'll be negotiating a brand new contract over the course of this upcoming school year. Nia Malday, one of the candidates that was endorsed, understands this importance of paying teachers well, and she shared a little bit about that with us.
Another thing that can really retain our teacher is giving them pays, trying to give them something that is really crucial toward them. Because like I said earlier, I think I talk about this a lot, is compensate them, the way that need for them to be compensated, because they need to be able to take care of their family. They need to take a trip, so that way they don't have to burn out. So these are things that I believe that, will really bring retention. Will really attract, more teacher into our school.
And Niamal's spot on to be talking about teacher pay as a factor that's affecting this retention crisis. You might remember during negotiations in the last cycle, we saw the board bring forward a proposal that would have significantly altered teacher pay. And so we're going to need some really strong advocates on the board who support teachers and will promote not just a basic cost of living increase, but something that will help teachers go beyond just not going backwards.
Right. We also asked candidates about retention and recruitment within the framework of overloads and how many of our colleagues are taking on additional overloads. I took on an additional overload last year, and I know dozens and dozens of others did as well. It's a lot of work because we're just not getting the teachers needed to fulfill those classes. Katie Christensen is one of our endorsed candidates, and she's also concerned about this topic. Here's what she has to say about it. Take a listen.
Beyond that, this is very, very concerning. And so I think that we do need to make efforts to create a school culture that makes people want to stay there. So I think if we create a really healthy culture, then you're going to bring in more teachers and they're going to want to stay and they're going to want to be there. But that teacher overload, that to me, that is something that I just keep hearing about, and it definitely needs attention.
And we know that the district is working on this. And we know that it's a topic that they are trying to fix, and they've hired a recruitment specialist. That's only part of the equation. What good is recruitment if you're not retaining those new recruits as well? And those efforts might be futile if we don't start looking more closely at retention.
And so the final candidate that you'll hear from today is Greg Clark. You might remember that his wife is a teacher over in West Fargo, which is where he draws a lot of his understanding on this issue of retention and recruitment. Here's what he had to say.
My wife is thrilled every time that the teachers union or the PTA or someone is like, hey, we appreciate you. Here's some pizza. It's like, yeah, that was a very small gesture, but it's stuff like that like constant little reminders of you're important, right? But let's blow that up 1,000 times and build that appreciation and respect into every policy decision that the board makes.
I do love pizza parties.
Yeah, you see Greg's data analyst mindset kind of coming through here, and he understands that those small things like the pizza party maybe have some impact on that, but it's really more so about bringing that climate of appreciation to the board and driving that through every board policy.
Right. Well, that's about as much time as we have for this installment of our mini podcast series. Perhaps the last installment. Maybe we've got some bonus content for you. You're going to have to like and subscribe to find out. Until then, I'm Ben Norman signing off for the Grant Craft. Please like, share, and subscribe. Take care.